What is going on, Laker fans? Thank you very much for tuning in, doing a little post game after the post game here. Just recording this one, so obviously not doing anything live here. Lakers lose to the Nets 121 to 104. Last time I put a video up, it was Saturday night when we all know what the heck happened to the in the game against the Boston Celtics. So just want to give a little bit of reaction, give some thoughts, some comments, and then you guys can feel free to comment below and do what you guys do. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed to the channel. And this is the first time that you've come to the show or you've been on the show a number of different times before. I'd appreciate that you guys subscribe to the channel. Okay, so real quick here. Coming into the game, we get word yesterday that LeBron and Anthony Davis are both not going to play in this game. I actually did not really know too much of the details of it. I thought, hey, maybe did something happen? Does Anthony Davis have some soreness? Does he not? Darvin Ham had said pregame that they had already kind of planned that he was going to sit this game, one of these games on a back-to-back, and it happened to be this Brooklyn game. Bron obviously played big-time minutes in that last matchup. He's putting in a ton of minutes, period, right? LeBron is doing what he's asked to do and doing much more than that at age 38. So anytime Bron takes a night off, I don't really say anything about it. But really what it does for the Lakers, it makes things incredibly difficult it makes a situation that's already incredibly difficult for the Lakers just that much more difficult. Coming into the game, they were 4 games below 500. So now 5 games below 500. So right out the gate, you thought to yourself, all right, this changes the entire scope of this game. And, what happens with the Lakers moving forward in this game, it's going to be obviously a lot more difficult. Now, I had a little bit of hope because Brooklyn didn't have Kevin Durant. They also didn't have Ben Simmons play tonight. I want to say TJ Warren didn't go as well. So you had 3 guys, of course, KD being the superstar. I know Ben Simmons is not the player that he was at one point, but you thought, all right, well, they're not in full strength too. Let's see what happens here. And right out the gate, it looked like this game was over before it started. Brooklyn went up by, I want to say 13 at the end of the first quarter, went up by 19 in the second quarter. And then by the time you got to halftime, the Lakers got it down to 12. So you thought, all right, maybe they're making things a little bit more reasonable. Let's see how this game plays out. I did my halftime report, and I talked about how if you could just cut that lead in half by the time the fourth quarter starts, make this thing a game, and let's see if you can put a little bit of pressure on the Brooklyn Nets. Lakers didn't just do that. They surpassed anyone's expectations in that third quarter. It's kind of a weird stretch. Lakers storm all the way back from down 12. They tie the game. And then with a couple minutes left in the third quarter, Lakers actually take a 7-point lead. I remember they left Patty Mills open. Somebody helped. It might have been Troy Brown Jr. helping off Patty Mills. Mills hits a 3 and it goes down to 4. And I'm standing there saying, of all the people you want to help off of, are you really helping off of Patty Mills? This game, I think, was decided in that last 2 minutes of the third quarter because Lakers went from up 7 to, before you know it, Brooklyn goes on a 10-0 run. And by the time the fourth quarter started, Lakers were down 3. Now, I know you would say, if you didn't know any of the details of that third quarter, you say, they outscored them by 9 in the third quarter. What more do you want? They were down now 19. Now they're only down 3. At halftime, they were down 12. So I get that portion of it. I get looking at it from that perspective. But it felt like the momentum that the Lakers had by storming all the way back, Brooklyn was actually walking into the fourth quarter and said, hey, we'll take a 3-point lead. Could have been worse. We were down 7 2 minutes ago. So once that fourth quarter started, I did feel like the momentum was in Brooklyn's hand. And that could change at any moment. Lakers got ran out the gym in the fourth quarter. They only scored 22 points. Brooklyn put up 36. That great defense that the Lakers had for about 10-minute stretch in that third quarter was gone. Brooklyn was kind of having their way offensively. And before you knew it, by the time the dust settled, it was all Brooklyn. And the score made the game look really like it wasn't even that close. And I don't think anybody would have thought that Lakers at one point went up 7. If anybody was tuning in the first half and they saw that the Lakers were down 19, and then they saw that the Lakers lost by 17, nobody, if I'd have told you, yeah, but there was a stretch from when they were down 19 and they lost by 17, that they actually had a 7-point lead at one stretch. I don't think anybody would have believed that. So kind of a weird game, right? Not exactly games don't usually go like that, where it's big swings like that, but that happened to the Lake Show tonight. Couple of things I'll point out. Lakers got to start hitting some free throws. They left 14 free throws on the board tonight, 23 of 37. They missed 14 free throws, added 37 shots, 62%. You don't have LeBron and AD. You already don't have those two players. So to think that you could leave that many points on the board and it's going to be okay, obviously that's not going to happen, and that did not happen tonight. So that's something to keep in mind right there. Guard play for the Lakers, it's so weird here. It's so inconsistent. Pat Bev was 1 of 8. Dennis Schroeder was 2 of 15. Schroeder was 2 of 15. I was saying in the pregame show, and I wasn't breaking any news, but Dennis Schroeder's, I thought without LeBron and Anthony Davis, he's got the best chance at going off for 25. And I had hope that he could have that type of game tonight. 2 of 15 from the field. Patrick Beverley, 1 of 8. Can't have 15 points that inefficient from your backcourt and think you're going to walk away with a win without LeBron and Anthony Davis. Some other guys were okay. I thought Hachimura was all right. He had 16 points, shot a little bit below 50% from the field. Only 4 rebounds. It would have been nice to see him get on the glass more. Troy Brown Jr. had as good as a game I've ever seen him play for the Lakers. He had 17 rebounds for the Lakers. That's incredible. Shot 50% from the field as well. He was 4 of 8 from the field. Thomas Bryant, 18 and 9, something that Thomas Bryant, we kind of get accustomed to doing that when he gets significant amount of minutes. And he had good minutes tonight, 27. And then for the bench for the Lakers, Russ was just 5 of 15, even though he was trying to do everything else. 17 points, 10 assists, and 8 rebounds, 6 turnovers for Russ. Lonnie Walker, I thought was all right, 13 points. Had a moment there. Wendy Gabriel had a moment in the third quarter, but for the most part, the guys that you needed to step up, the players that you needed to kind of ball out tonight, specifically Dennis Schroeder, didn't make it happen. And like I said, between Patrick Beverley, Dennis Schroeder, and Russell Westbrook, they were 8 of 38. That's just not going to get it done from an offensive perspective. Russ passes Gary Payton. He's now number 10 on the all-time assist lead. Braun, probably against the Knicks tomorrow, is going to move up 2 slots. He's in 6. I think it's Mark Jackson and Steve Nash that are 5-4. And I think he's 7 assists away from Mark Jackson, 8 assists away from passing Steve Nash. So Braun's about to be in the top 5 there, top 4 by the time tomorrow's all said and done. If he, ends up playing, I'm assuming that he will end up playing. But when the dust settles, 23 and 28. That's what we got in the Los Angeles Lakers. They're 23 and 28. So let me kind of run through a couple things here in the NBA standings, just to kind of put a bow on this game against the Nets. I did think Brooklyn's 3 and 9 without KD, or I'm sorry, 3 and 6 without KD coming into the game tonight. So I did think the Lakers would have a chance, even though LeBron and Anthony Davis weren't playing. And even if that chance was a 1 in 5 odds, 1 in 4 odds, I did still think that they had a chance, but wasn't in the cards tonight. Didn't happen. You got to play, much better basketball in that fourth quarter if you're going to walk away with a win on the road like that. So here's a couple things that kind of looking forward here. 23 and 8 are the Lakers in the Western Conference. They are now, I want to double check on this because I know there was some games going on. I know Minnesota lost the game. Okay. So there's starting to be a little bit of a cushion here between the Lakers and some of these other teams in front of them. All right. The Lakers are the only team with 28 losses in the Western Conference of those teams that are kind of all fighting for that play-in tournament or even those top 4 spots. Or, I'm sorry, 4 through 6. Basically, 4 through 13 are all separated by a few games. But Lakers are the only team of those squads there with 28 losses. Nobody of those squads has 27 losses. So the Lakers are 2 games in the loss column behind. And then there's a lot of teams that have beat the Lakers this year. So there's tiebreakers. The Clippers won all 3 matchups against the Lakers. I think Phoenix have 1 loss against the Lakers. Maybe they don't. I can't remember off the top of my head. But there's some teams that have beat the Lakers as well. That gives them a little bit of an advantage there. Bless me, Laker fans. Bless me. If you think I'm going to edit that out, I'm not editing that out. No. We go live. We just kind of go live. It's been a while since I got a couple sneezes in. Usually I'm a 2 to 3 sneeze guy that if I get one in, I might get a couple more in. So there's 2 for you right there. I better get a lot of bless yous in the comments. Okay. I better get Sliwa. God bless you. Okay. I hope I get a couple of those. All right. We'll just keep going here. We don't stop. A sneeze doesn't take me out of the game. I keep going. So Lakers got 28 losses. All these other squads in front of them got 26 losses. So there's starting to be a little bit of separation. There are actually only 2 other teams of all these teams that are fighting for those spots that are below 500. The Thunder are 2 games below 500, and the Blazers, excuse me, are 3 games below 500. Lakers are 5 games below 500. So, like I said, you might be in the mix with some of these other teams. You might look at the standings and say, well, Lakers are only 2.5 games out of a play-in tournament spot. Or Lakers are only 3.5 games. 3.5 games for number 6, just using that as an example. What does it matter if you keep going the other way? I had a caller calling in the postgame show, and he started talking about the ref for the Boston Celtics, and the guy is 36-2 in games that he refs the Celtics, all that stuff. I get it. I understand it. Go out there, get your stats. Can't get that game back. And nobody cares that the Lakers, if we feel like the Lakers got screwed or not, to be honest with you, I don't think anybody gives a you-know-what. So the Lakers are going in the other way in the standings. I thought about this too, something that kind of sucks with the position that the Lakers are in, 5 games below 500. They got to finish. I don't know if I have the math exactly right. I saw somebody tweet this out. 18-13, I want to say, in their final. It sounds right. 31 games or so to just be at 500. Just to be at 500, which is where the Jazz are. They're 26-26 to be in that number 10 spot. So see what happens. Still a couple weeks left, obviously, before the NBA trade deadline. So that could be interesting or fascinating to see, what happens. I'm sorry, not a couple weeks, it's 1 week from this Thursday. So about 9 days, something like that. And you got to start making your move right now. I had another caller call in and say, hey, it's kind of BS that Anthony Davis didn't play tonight. They need him. He's got to be there. Yeah, I know what you want me to tell you. I think they're always going to be incredibly cautious with AD. Would it have potentially been the difference of winning or losing this game? Probably. It very well could have. But they're thinking about AD over the final 30 games, not one game against the Brooklyn Nets. And I guess at this point, they don't want to obviously have him in any back-to-backs right now. Let's see what else we could do here. I got one other thing that I want to do, and then we'll call it a night here. Just want to look at the scores because I know there were some teams that were playing while we're playing, teams that are in front of us. Yeah, Blazers have a 6-point lead on the Hawks. Kings already beat the Timberwolves. Those are 2 teams in front of the Lakers. Really, it's actually better for the Lakers that the Timberwolves lose that game. Warriors beat the Thunder. So Warriors are now starting to move in a different direction. Thunder in front of the Lakers as well. And then Mavs beat the Pistons. Suns beat the Raptors. So none of those games help the Lakers. So tomorrow night, this is what the Lakers got left in this road trip. You got the New York Knicks, the Indiana Pacers, and the New Orleans Pelicans. So believe it or not, don't think I'm crazy after I'm going to say what I'm going to say, but the Lakers still have a chance to do what the overall plan was on this road trip. So let me explain to you what I mean. Okay. I said you got to split one of these two in New York. I didn't know, obviously, LeBron and Anthony Davis were going to sit this game in Brooklyn. I thought the game against Brooklyn is when LeBron and AD would play. And I mean, I get it. I know it's Madison Square Garden. They want to play Madison Square Garden, but I thought the Knicks game will be tougher than the Brooklyn game. So if the Lakers are deciding, okay, we're going to go up against the Knicks, they want to play at Madison Square Garden. It's back to back. You're going to play on back to back. So you got to take one of those days off. I thought that you got to get one of these games in New York. I did not think they were going to win the game in Boston, even though the Lakers should have won that game in Boston. If you guys remember what I was saying, 3-2 was the goal for the road trip. You got to come back 3-2. Got to come back 3-2. Well, tomorrow is going to tell a lot about if that's going to happen or it's not. If you beat the Knicks tomorrow, who, by the way, are playing 500 basketball or so, their last game, they lost to the Brooklyn Nets. Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson, RJ Barrett. It's a winnable game. And Knicks are playing good basketball. I actually give them credit. I saw some reports today that they might be going after, some guys in free agency, or I'm sorry, some guys at the NBA trade deadline. We'll see what they do. They clearly don't have enough to be a top 4 team, top 5 team in the East, but they're fighting and they're doing whatever they can do. So this is what I come back to with the rest of the road trip. You got a Knicks team that LeBron and AD should be healthy, ready to go. Can you go get a W against the Knicks? You got a Pacers team coming up on Thursday where they're 1-9 in their last 10 games. Tyrese Haliburton, I think, went out 9 games ago, and they're 1-8 over that stretch. They're 1-9 overall. Now, with the Lakers' luck, Tyrese Haliburton will probably be ready to go by the time the Lakers play the Pacers. It just seems to always work that way for the Lakers. Okay. So you got a Pacers team that's 1-9 in their last 10. If you've kept any eye on the Pelicans, since Zion's been out, they have been on this rapid fall, and they've lost 8 games in a row. And at one point, I want to say they were second in the West. They're now 8th and could very well be on the outside looking in by the time Zion comes back. I think he's got maybe another week and a half, 2 weeks left, something like that with his injury. So the point that I'm trying to make is the ultimate goal of this 5-game road trip was to come back 3-2. You got screwed out a win against the Boston Celtics. LeBron and Anthony Davis don't play against Brooklyn, but you still got 3 games left. So tomorrow is, obviously a big game for the Lakers. Can they beat the Knicks? If they can beat the Knicks, then you got 2 teams that are really, really struggling, one in the East or one in the Western Conference. Maybe you can catch a break there and still come back from this road trip 3-2. I do not have the answer for you, but that is still a realistic there's still a chance that they can do that. So we'll have to wait and see if the Lakers are able to do that. Knicks tomorrow. I looked up one thing here that I'm going to just share with you guys. I'm going to actually bring this up tomorrow. I do my Lakers Talk Daily stuff that I do for 710. Julius Randle. You guys seen his stats? This dude's stats this year? Just under 25 points a game, just under 11 rebounds a game, and 4 assists a game. Is Julius Randle the best of those Laker young players? I always would say it's Brandon Ingram. B.I. was always the player for me where I'd be like, nah, it's B.I. You give me any of those players, I'll take Brandon Ingram. But Lonzo Ball, he's been injured all year. And you got to keep that in mind when you talk about Lonzo. B.I. this year, how many games has he played? 17 games, 20 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. I'm a huge fan of B.I., but B.I. is not the best player on the Pelicans. Zion is. B.I. is a perfect number 2 guy, or you could say even I don't watch the Pelicans often. Maybe it's C.J. McCollum is the second best player. B.I. is the third best player. But between all those young Laker players that we had in the past, Lonzo, B.I., Jordan Clarkson, Kyle Kuzma, Julius Randle, Randle might be the one that's actually the best player of that crew that left the Lakers. He's the best player on a playoff team. None of those other teams can you say that for? None of those other players. Clarkson's not the best player on the Jazz. That's marketed. Ingram's not the best player on the Pelicans. That's like I mentioned, that's Zion or CJ McCollum or whatever the case is. Lonzo isn't playing, and who else am I missing? Am I missing anybody else? D'Angelo's not the best player on his team, so it might be Julius Randle. Who the heck would have thought when the dust settled, Randle is the best player. So we get to see him tomorrow against the New York Knicks. Like I said, Knicks 500 over these last 10 games or so. And this becomes a huge game for the Lakers. They can win that one. They can maybe still come back on this road trip 3-2. If they can't, then it's an unsuccessful road trip no matter what you do in the final 2 games. Laker fans, appreciate you guys tuning in. Thanks for being a part of the show. I'll get back with you guys tomorrow night after the Lakers take on the New York Knicks. Thanks for tuning in, Laker fans. Appreciate it.